By 8:30 a.m. on our last full day in Belize, we were headed for La Gaviota, a 48-foot single-hull sailboat that would take us on an all-day snorkeling adventure. We would make 3 stops on the water: Coral Gardens, Shark Ray Alley, and Hole Chan, all of which were reputed to be epic locations for viewing oceanic wildlife. We were joined for this voyage by David and Rhonda, tourists from Kentucky. They had taken this trip before. In anticipation of setting sail, David shared with me some of his experience from a previous trip.
If they did like they did the year we were here, you'll go out, snorkel out into the Caribbean on the far side of the reef, and the current there is tremendous, and it's a struggle to get out. Coming back's a breeze, but getting out there's a bear.
Soon we were underway, sailing under clear skies to our first destination, Coral Gardens.
So guys, like I said, those slippers sometimes are a bit long, and sometimes in the water we're in a vertical position, right? Looking up, looking to see where our people are going. I will ask you to be very careful. We don't want you to hit those corals, because when you hit them, you can break them, and you can also hurt yourself. And we want none to happen. And remember guys, coral is not a rock, it is not a plant. It has the life of its own. It's an animal, all right? And we're trying our best to protect it. It's very beautiful, and it's what gives us a job, right? Your tour guide will always be swimming at the front of you guys. Don't be swimming ahead of him. Always be swimming at the back. And I know we don't see a turtle on a daily basis. I know we don't see a shark or a stingray. We might get a little bit overexcited sometimes. We see a turtle, we rush towards it. I recommend to not do that, guys, because when we do that, the creatures hear our noise of the flippers, and they think it's a predator. The first thing they do, swim off. And if someone is swimming behind us a bit slow, they won't get to see, okay? So we're trying everyone to have a sight of this creature. Like I said, your tour guide will be leading the group at all times, and in this one it will be Lorenzo, because I believe everybody wants to see the spearfishing or
When a human being goes fishing with a line or a net from the safety of a boat, he is the undisputed apex predator on the water, quite literally at the very top of the food chain. But when he descends below the surface to hunt his prey in waters sometimes visited by man-eating bull sharks, tiger sharks, he takes himself down a peg or two, and the result feels more visceral, primal, and a little bit dangerous, but undeniably exciting. Lorenzo and I speared a few small fish, and I thought we might cook them for lunch. As it turned out, Louis, the boat's captain, and chef apparently, was already preparing a meal. Our catch didn't go to waste though, but more on that later.
So it takes a lot of practice like any other sport. If you take a rifle and you're not used to it, first shot, second shot, you always miss. But you want to be good at something, you gotta keep practicing. It's like an addiction. That's what happened to me after I started hitting the first and second fish. I started doing more and then I don't want to stop. I go free diving in deep waters where people scuba dive. Sometimes not dives 100, 120, 125 feet down. No time. Free dive. Oh, big fish.
With the fishing behind us, we moved on into protected waters, where the protocol regarding wildlife would be look but don't touch for the rest of the day. After a friendly visit from a park ranger who wanted to verify that we weren't poachers, we proceeded onward to the famous Shark Ray Alley. Upon returning to the boat, I rounded the stern and came face to face with this multitude of nurse sharks and various other fish. Unbeknownst to us tourists in the water, Tony, who was still on the boat, was using our spearfishing catch to chum the water, thus luring in this harmless spectacle. To which I say, well played, sir.
Release them the head of the fish. Let's see what they're gonna do.
Oh, here they come! Here they come!
What do you think about that, man?
I think that's amazing. I think when I came around the corner and saw a bunch of them, and some were coming at me, and I was going towards them, and we both kind of went, "Excuse me."
So guys, welcome to our final stop of the day. This area is called Hol Chan, right? Hol Chan is a Mayan word that signifies a small break on the barrier reef. It's narrow, and the channel is around 30 feet in depth. So like I told you this morning, big creatures come in to feed on a daily basis. All types of turtles, all types of sharks. It's pretty cool. Like David explained this morning, last time his experience up there was a bit rough, right? It was. Yeah, but today it's very calm, and we expect the channel to be calm as well with the current. So I don't expect you guys to be having much of a workout. Down here, where we see these snorkelers, this is where we usually see some turtles, guys. Not a promise, but we were there the day before. Turtles were there. There was like, what, 4 or 5 turtles in one spot.
By the end of the day, it was clear that this sailing and snorkeling adventure was the crown jewel of our Belizean holiday. Do yourself a favor, book a tour on La Gaviota, and when you do, be sure to ask Lorenzo to tell you about the time he successfully defended his spearfishing catch from a hungry bull shark in shallow water. I'm still kicking myself for not having my camera at the ready for that one.
Well, this is the last day in Belize. Fly out tomorrow morning or around noon. So
I guess this is kind of a video diary of my impressions. And I'll be back anytime I go to any sort of Caribbean location, be it an island or a coastal town. I always want to move there, and Belize is no exception. One thing I will say is that compared to all of the other locations I've been to, in terms of snorkeling specifically, you know, Cozumel, the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, Cuba, Costa Rica, be these excursions just from the shore, just snorkeling off the coast, or actually taking a boat into deeper water for coral reef adventures. None of them compare to Belize in my experience today. I highly recommend this place.
So to recap this Belizean adventure, we started off flying into Belize City. That first night we stayed at an inn called the Great House, which is a lovely old building, really friendly staff, fine accommodations. We checked out of there the next morning and went on our inland tours before heading out to the islands. For our first day, full day in Belize, we visited the Mayan temples of Altunha, 2,000-year-old ruins. We went cave tubing, we zip lined, that was great. All of that was booked through Up Close Belize. Our driver and guide throughout all three of those excursions was named Auner, and he was a joy to spend time with. He had some wonderful stories, very knowledgeable about the local attractions and culture. I would like to mention that the COVID-19 pandemic has hit Belize particularly hard, and the tourist dollars, you know, were not coming in for the last year, and there was also no government assistance for the out-of-work employees, so they were forced to live on their savings this whole time. And so now that Belize is kind of coming back online, tourism is on the upswing, they're happy to have the business, so keep that in mind when you're planning your trip. Tip well. So from Belize City we flew out to San Pedro. Now we took the plane as opposed to the ferry. The plane ride is about 15 minutes. The ferry takes approximately an hour and a half. It's about 60 or 70 US dollars more for the plane ticket, but if you're trying to maximize your time out here, it's a worthwhile option. So quick shout out to DKs and Karen, who we booked our island tours with. That was the trip on the boat yesterday, La Gaviota, the 48-foot sailboat captained by Louis and crewed by guides Tony and his brother Lorenzo. Wonderful guys, super great time, spearfishing, snorkeling, all kinds of wildlife. It was amazing. Highly recommend it. The hustle and bustle of San Pedro can be a little bit stressful in terms of golf carts zooming back and forth all day. They're very loud, and sometimes I ask myself, oh my goodness, you know, I came out to Caribbean island to relax, not to be all stressed out by traffic. But I'll tell you, one day out on the water is enough to alleviate all of that stress and make it all worthwhile. Finally, last but not least, we are currently broadcasting from the rooftop deck of Casa del Rey here in San Pedro, which is a lovely rental property owned and operated by a woman named Aileen Block, who is a Canadian national, and she's lived here for many years. and she's been a great host. This is a really nice place, very relaxing. Whenever my wife and I travel anywhere, we generally try to stay in either an Airbnb type of establishment or a boutique hotel that is, you know, actively run by whoever owns it, as opposed to these larger all-inclusive type resorts. Those places tend to micromanage your experience and sort of keep you beholden to the on-site restaurants and bars, and they keep you a little bit sequestered from the local culture. I prefer to try to have a little bit of a more authentic experience by immersing myself, you know, in the streets and, you know, living amongst the people, if you will, and get a better sense of what it's like to live in whatever destination you find yourself in. It's nice to have a kitchen where you can go shopping and save some money. Dining out is sometimes where they get you, even if you're in a place that's cheaper than what you're used to at home. Sometimes the restaurants are where they get you. Now, I did not fare so well in my attempt at shopping at the store, as I mentioned before, and when I explained to our host Aileen about my costly experience at the Superbuy supermarket, she kind of chuckled and told me I could have saved a lot of money if I had just eaten the street food, which she says is perfectly safe, and she's lived here for a really long time. You know, I'm often wary of street food when I'm in a developing nation because you never know. You hear horror stories about food poisoning. I've been careful and haven't, you know, had to go through that, but apparently here in San Pedro it's not really that risky, so that's something to make note of. So yeah, I hope you got something out of this video. I know I had fun living it. I hope you come to Belize and enjoy some of this awesomeness.